7:30 p.m. Present at the meeting are council members, President John Wilson, Kevin Charbonneau, Chris Fischona is appearing remotely. Chris, can you just acknowledge you're here?
I am here.
Thank you. Clark Curtis. Staff members at the table, I have City Clerk and Treasurer James Johnson, Interim City Manager Karen Garrity. Rebecca's not in the room.
She's on.
She's on remotely, thank you. Okay, remotely I have Programs Director Rebecca Tarian. Rebecca, can you just say you're there, please?
I'm here.
Thank you. Okay, I have any other staff members? I have,
Mr. Franchini.
are you in or out? In? I have Frank Cheney,
The Chief of Police.
Chief of Police here. And is Mike Brown
Oh,
is
Mike is
here.
here.
So Parks and Recreation Director Mike Brown. Am I missing anybody else? Okay. Next item on the agenda is number 2, additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda. We are going to be opening the floor to public comments for each agenda item. So members of the audience are reminded that members of the press are present and that, excuse me, proceedings are being recorded for current and future broadcast over the city's cable television channel. Members of the audience are further reminded that Newport City Council meetings are for the purpose of allowing council members to conduct city business. City council meetings are the only time the city council discusses, deliberates, and decides upon city matters. City council meetings are held in public to promote transparency and accountability in government, but are distinct from public hearings or town meetings in that they are not meetings of the public. Members of the public shall be afforded a reasonable opportunity to express opinions about matters considered by the city council. To conduct orderly and efficient meetings, I kindly request the public's cooperation and compliance with the published guidelines when participating in the meeting. Thank you. Are there any additions or deletions or changes to the agenda? Okay, I would like to, oh, I'm sorry.
Clarification, Madam Mayor. Is Karen Garrity still the interim manager? I thought she was voted in last week.
No, she is the interim city manager. There was, the motion was an offer and, to allow for an offer, and there was a misquote on part of it, so we will be addressing that now. So, I would like a motion to amend the agenda item warned as item number 9 to replace the word budget with funds. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Public comment? Any further discussion with the council?
May I ask a question? Can you clarify the definitional difference between budget and funds?
We're quoting somebody's request. That's why we're using the word fund. Okay? We just want to make sure we're addressing what we were asked for. And the budget is a process that goes forward and the fund's already established. So one's like a historical balance sheet and one is the in motion. Okay.
Excuse me, I do have a comment then, based on your response to Ms. Garrity. I'm assuming it's my request that you're quoting, and if you are quoting that request, then you need to add the word internal. Because that was the request. So if you are quoting, you need to add the word internal.
Okay. Right now, we are changing the word budget to funds. I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. May I please have a motion to delete the agenda item warned as number 5, entitled Informational Presentation on Creative Workforce Solutions, Neil Morissette, since the presenters are not ready at this time and will be rescheduled. So may I have a motion for that deletion?
I make that motion to delete item number 5.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comment from the public? Any further discussion? Ready for the... I have a motion and a second. We have, I'm gonna roll this back, okay? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion is carried.
So Mr. Vashon can be hired.
Okay.
Okay.
May I have a motion to add as agenda item number 3, considering amending a motion previously adopted at the September 11, 2023 City Council meeting regarding the position of city manager.
I'm sorry, maybe you repeat that one?
Sure. May I please have a motion to add as agenda item number 3, consider amending a motion previously adopted at September 11, 2023 City Council meeting regarding the position of city manager. Do I have a motion?
I will make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any public comment? Any further discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it and the motion carries.
Madam Mayor? What is the amended motion?
I'm getting there.
Oh.
Okay. May I have a motion that warned agenda items number 11A and 11B be combined as their own agenda item number 6, described as Jennifer Burling's notices of open meeting law violations dated 9/8/2023 concerning the adequacy of the September 6, 2023 agenda and September 8, 2023 concerning city employees entering executive session. May I have a motion?
Make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any comment? Any further discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it and the motion is carried.
So what is,
May I have a motion to move agenda items 10 through 13 to number 7, 8, 9, and 10 respectively? So we're renumbering.
Could you say that again, please?
Sure. May I have a motion to move agenda items 10 through 13 to number 7, 8, 9, and 10 respectively?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comment? Any discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. We are moving to the next agenda item, number 3. This is considering amending a motion previously adopted at the September 11, 2023 City Council meeting regarding the position of city manager. May I please have a motion to amend the motion the City Council passed on September 11, 2023, which stated to appoint Karen Garrity city manager, to now state Mr. Wilson moved to extend Karen Garrity an offer of appointment to the office of city manager. May I have that motion?
And then we're gonna discuss this, I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Public comment?
What exactly is happening here?
We're correcting, we're just amending a motion. Instead, it was an offer versus an actual appointment.
That was not the motion.
What-
The motion is
But-
exactly what it says in the minutes.
We're amending it because my first
You read the
request,
original motion, what you read is not correct.
what happened was I made asked for a motion to make an offer, and then it was quoted differently, so now we're amending it.
Which,
Right here, number 3.
Oh, they don't have this.
Right. So I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
I don't agree with
Is
that.
there discussion on this?
Yes, but nobody discussed, so,
So, I thought it was just the public,
no,
like,
go
it was
ahead.
my intent in the seconding of that motion that it was to be appointed, not, yeah.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
No.
I have 2 ayes and 2 nays, and I will vote aye. The motion is carried.
What's this?
We're moving to number 4, approve the minutes of September 11, 2023. The next item on the agenda is number 4, approval of the minutes of September 11, 2023. You should have a copy in your packet.
Mr. Johnson provided an updated copy. Mr. Johnson provided an
I saw that, we have that, thank you. Are there any additional changes to these minutes? May I have a motion to amend the minutes to reflect the amendment that was just passed so that Mr. Wilson's motion to appoint Karen Garrity city manager now reads, Mr. Wilson moved to extend Karen Garrity an offer of appointment to the office of city manager. May I have that motion?
Unfortunately, that's not what was said. And this ruffles feathers, what it be. I move to appoint Karen Garrity as city manager pending approval of the packet. So, I move to, but I did say pending the approval when we sit down and discuss monies and all that other stuff. So, but I did actually move to appoint her
And we're saying.
pending.
Right, and we had just amended that to now make it an offer. And it was just voted on, and it is now going to have this language.
Madam Mayor, that's not the motion. The motion on the corrected minutes is directly from the tape. word for word.
This motion here,
Well, the motion in the minutes, the amended, the correct, the revised minutes.
where's the revised one?
You have the amendment on it. Because at that time, Mr. Roy said, well, what if he doesn't, if she doesn't accept
Right.
the packet? I said, then we start all over again.
And the packet was the offer that we were going to do.
Tonight, we were gonna,
Well,
yeah,
the offer,
packet, yeah.
right, but that's what I mean, it's the offer. Can I just see the revised?
Mike, would the amendments be recognized under tonight's meeting's minutes rather than previous meeting's minutes, since those were what was said?
Can you repeat that? With the amendments, say it one more time?
Wouldn't the amendment be recognized in the minutes, sorry, under tonight's minutes rather than last time's, making an amendment to last time's, it would just be under this meeting's minutes? That would be the acknowledgement, correct?
This would, when we're making the amendment, we made the amendment, a motion to amend, but now we're discussing it further. And so then we will make that, we're in the middle of making the motion to approve those minutes. And the clerk has already provided us with a revised copy. So for clarification, let me make sure that this is what you want, President. You're saying that you would like a motion to offer to appoint a city manager, which is what we discussed.
That's what we discussed, however, that's not what I said
Correct.
in the original minutes.
Right, and that's why
I
we
made a
just
motion
amended
to
it.
appoint pending
Do you want me to
approval of the
pull up the
package.
deal?
No, we think we have it. Thank you, though.
Madam Mayor,
So, yes,
I wrote in the original minutes, that John moved to appoint Karen Gary city manager.
mhm,
All right, there was some discussion whether it was appointed or not. I went back and listened to the tape,
mhm.
and the tape said, word for word, Mayor Sullivan asked for a motion to offer to appoint a city manager. Mr. Wilson moved to make Karen Garrity the next city manager. That's word for word off the tape.
Right, and I'm taking
Nothing
it.
about an offer or anything.
Well, so now we're
In the
making
motion.
an amendment.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that you understand what
I
the motion
understand that.
was.
So now we're going back and we're making
I
that
understand what you're
amendment,
doing, but
okay?
The motion
And when
was
it's
not-
already passed, everybody
motion-
voted on it.
but the motion was on what's on the tape.
So now, we have a motion and a second to approve. I already have that motion and it's already been seconded and it's been voted on.
So we're changing what had happened
This,
and what
down
was
here, all we're doing,
documented.
over here, Councilman, we just made a motion, okay, to turn it to the offer and everybody voted on it. So it has carried. You voted 2 noes, 2 yeses, and I was the swing vote of yes. So the motion carried. So now, I have a motion and a second. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of September 11, 2023 with the changes? All those in favor, I'm sorry, can I have the motion, please?
I don't know why I can't stay the way it was. Pending, and I did say pending approval of a packet that we were gonna present to her.
Because we just passed the motion to amend it.
I know that, but
Madam Mayor, if I may,
Go ahead.
I think it's okay to have the minutes reflect what was said on September 11th. And then by the council's prior motion to amend that September 11th motion, the minutes from this evening's meeting will reflect that the previous motion was indeed changed And as long as those minutes from September 11th reflect what President Wilson said that night, everything will be fine, and everyone will understand that the council clarified its September 11th motion so as to mean that the council wanted to extend an offer to appoint the city manager, not appoint her formally, as that is pending resolution of a number of items over the next couple weeks.
Correct, thank you. So, ready?
Well, he said we really don't need a motion.
So the minutes will be reflected to show the change. Good? Okay, we're now moving to comments by members of the public, which is, I'm sorry?
Wait, Madam Mayor, do we need to approve the minutes still?
Yes, I thought we just did, I'm sorry. Forgive me. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of September 11, 2023 with changes?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any public comment?
Can I have clarification on what the changes are?
We're leaving the original language in the minutes, and we are now we've already made that amendment to reflect that the amendment just passed, so that Mr. Wilson's motion to appoint Karen Garrity city manager will now read, Mr. Wilson moved to extend Karen Garrity an offer of appointment to the office of city manager.
Madam Mayor?
So, may I have
No, it's
one
public
moment,
discussion.
please. One moment, please. We're already back to the discussion here with the
Okay,
council.
fair enough.
So, I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
What
Aye.
happened to public discussion?
All those opposed, please say nay.
No.
Nay.
I have 2 ayes and 2 nays. I will say aye, and the motion is passed. I asked for public discussion before, and then we came back here. We're now moving to comments by the members
That's not
of
what
the
I was
public.
referring to. I was referring to.
Now we're coming to comments by the members of the public. That will be agenda number 5. I would like to say that the mayor and the council members desire to give the public a reasonable opportunity to express its opinions on matters considered by the public body during the council meetings. These public comments are permissible only as long as order is maintained, as the principal purpose of meetings are for the transaction of the business of the public body, meaning that these are conducted in public, but are not meetings of the public. Public comment will be allowed and limited to no more than 2 minutes per recognized speaker, unless the mayor or chair permit a longer period of time. Public comment will be during the public comment item on the agenda. Please note that while providing a reasonable opportunity for public comments, it does not mean allowing all public comment. Reasonable rules to stop a member of the public who is disruptive, fails to keep at the subject matter at hand, whose speech has become repetitive or irrelevant, who repeatedly interrupts others, who lacks respect for rules of decorum, or who has attempted to hijack the meeting will be upheld. The council places a premium on public comment because of the vital contribution that it makes in informing and sustaining our local democracy. This is, however, balanced by the need for civility and recognition of the sacrifice of volunteers to keep our city running. Recognizing these competing values, public comment will be allowed after the discussion of each agenda item, but before the public body takes action. If the council room is packed and public comments may be reasonably set aside to a total amount of minutes, for an example, 30 minutes in total, for all recognized public speakers combined. I'd like to say what Winston Churchill said, courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. It's also what it takes to sit down and listen. So now, when your name is called, there you go. Please speak into the microphone, state your name and residence and/or affiliation. You will have 2 minutes for your comment. Will the interim city manager please time? Thank you very much, and alert us when we come to 30 seconds. Ms. Bierling.
So where's the microphone? I was gonna speak into the microphone as I was told to do. All right, so can my 2 minutes start now, please? On August 31st, 2023, an agenda for a special council meeting of September 6, 2023 was posted. The agenda read as follows: call to order, additions, changes, and deletions to the agenda, public comment, evaluation of city personnel, likely executive session, 1 VSA 313A3, and adjourn. Upon inquiry, the city manager's office had no information as to which city position was to be evaluated. And Mr. Charbonneau, Mr. Wilson, and Mr. Vashon had no information as to which city position was to be evaluated. I filed a notice of violation of 1 VSA 312. I stated that the agenda of the September 6, 2023 special council meeting did not adequately warn the public of the topics to be discussed at the meeting, and that the warning fails to allow members of the public to be reasonably informed so as to exercise their right pursuant to 1 VSA 312H to express their opinion on matters to be considered by the council. At the September 11th, 2023 council meeting, the council denied the violation and stated that the agenda was adequately warned. Curiously, a few months ago, item number 15 on the May 15th, 2023 council meeting agenda warned, quote, executive session to discuss the appointment of a public officer or employee, 1 VSA 313A3. I filed a notice of open meeting law violation.
30 seconds.
After consulting with the city attorney, the council came back to open session and Mr. Charbonneau made a motion that stated in part, the council acknowledges that on May 15th, 2023, the council's agenda item regarding executive session for the appointment of a public officer or employee was too vague to provide the public with reasonable information about what was to be discussed. The motion was seconded by Mr. Curtis, and the motion passed unanimously. And you can see the council meeting on May 22nd at minute marker 31:26 to verify this.
Okay, your time is up. Thank you for your comment. The next person on the list is Charlie Pronto. Would you please identify your affiliation or your residence? And the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm Charlie Pronto. Everyone knows me. I live in Newport. I have a comment and a question. My comment is it disappoints me to no end to see the way everything is happening around the councils. I mean, I was mayor for 4 years. I was on the council before that. Everything ran pretty smooth. We didn't have a lot of second guessing from people out in the audience. We didn't have a lawyer at every meeting trying to, find something wrong so they can stick your finger in your eye. We're a small community. You guys are public servants. None of you are professionals. And I think you deserve our respect. Nobody's gonna wanna step up for your job if this continues, because in my mind, it's harassment. Never seen it before. It's been going on for quite a long time. I've noticed that prior to these last few council meetings, it seems like there was a lawyer present all the time that the city's paying for, because everybody is so damn worried about if they say just one wrong word that they're going to be. be attacked as a result of it. So I'm disappointed with that. I hope it stops. My question is, with all of the stuff that we're just talking about from Mrs. Bjorling, half of our agenda tonight is on open meeting law violations. I talked with a prior city manager at length at one point about time involved, and it was the same thing back then, getting too many requests, too many complaints about how the meetings run, open meeting violations on minuscule little things, and too many requests for Freedom of Information Acts, so you consume all kinds of time for the people in the city. We had a alderman that didn't even want to go into executive session because they weren't sure. So I think everybody's nervous, everybody's on their toes, and it shouldn't be that way. You know, we're a small community, we're all friends. I want to know, my question is, I want to know what it's costing the city of Newport to have this lady, this is Bjorling, constantly having open meeting violations, information requests, on and on and on and on and on and on, and to the point where we have to contact a lawyer all the time. What is that costing us taxpayers? What is that costing the city of Newport? I'm sick of it.
Thank you for your comment. The next item is number 6, Jennifer Bjorling's notices of open meeting law violations dated 9/8/2023 concerning adequacy of the September 6, 2023 agenda and dated September 8, 2023. May I have a motion to find that premature public general knowledge of the confidential attorney-client communications made for providing legal services to the city council will place the city at a substantial disadvantage because disclosure of the otherwise confidential advice and communication would harm the city by waiving the city's attorney-client privilege in accordance with 1 VSA section 313A1F. May I have that motion?
I'll make that motion, Madam Mayor.
May I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Public comment? Further discussion by the council? You ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. And the ayes have it, and the motion carries. May I have a motion to enter executive session to discuss confidential attorney-client communications with the city attorney for the purpose of providing professional legal services and invite the city attorney into the executive session pursuant to 1 VSA section 313A1F. May I have that motion?
So moved.
I have a motion, may I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any public comment? Further discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, the motion is carried, and we are now in executive session. We're out of executive session and no action is taken. May I have a motion to move that the city council deny the alleged open meeting law violation as stated in Jennifer Bjorling's letter dated September 8, 2023.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Public comment?
What's the denial based on? How did you receive
Any other comments?
I just want to know which one of these you're dealing with, because there's many. So
Your
is this-
September 8th, 2023.
So the one in which you did not warn of the public works employees joining the executive session, that one?
So you sent over a batch, and they're all up here. So if you'd like, you can grab a batch and you could identify them. So this is the September 8th. I would
Well,
like
have
now
the
to
September
allow,
8th. I'm the author of these documents, I know the dates.
right, this is A and B.
A and B,
Two different dates.
yeah, she's one.
There's two that are dated September 9th, there's one that's dated September 8th.
This is the one we're talking about, the September 8th.
And the September 8th document is in reference to not noticing the Public Works employees to the executive session.
So, we have your September 8th alleged open meeting law violation, and there are many parts to it. So that is what we are dealing with right now. At this point in time, Counselor, would you like to have the floor?
Sure, public comment is complete. The city is denying this open meeting law violation because there was no grievance submitted at the meeting on September 6th. A grievance is a term of art relating to a complaint about a union contract, and verbal grievances are not permitted. There was no written grievance received and no grievance discussed on September 6th. Therefore, the city should deny the open meeting law violation as presented.
Members of-
The date, you said September 6th, I believe, I thought it was the 8th.
The
Okay.
meeting was the 6th, the complaint was the 8th.
Oh, thank you.
Members of the council? I have a motion and a second. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. May I now have a motion that the city council deny the alleged open meeting law violation as stated in Jennifer Burling's letter dated September 9, 2023, regarding city employees entering executive session. May I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any public comment?
So is it the council's position that once those unwarned people were admitted to the meeting, that the council was still in executive session?
Thank you for your comment. Any other comments? Counselor, would you like to have the floor?
Certainly, Madam Mayor and Council, this open meeting law, we recommend the city deny this open meeting law violation because the open meeting law does not require people to be recognized in the motion to enter executive session if they're going to be invited into executive session. The law requires the council to exercise its discretion to admit people. A best practice and a recommended practice is to state the names or positions of those being invited into the session in the motion, but it is not a requirement of the open meeting law statutes themselves. Therefore, we recommend council deny this violation.
And so how does the council exercise its discretion in the absence of a vote? Because the discretion is awarded to the council in its entirety, not to individual members.
So I have a motion and a second. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is number 7, confidential attorney-client communications regarding the responses to open meeting law violation allegations. May I have a motion to find that premature public general knowledge of the confidential attorney-client communications made for providing legal services to the city council would place the city at a substantial disadvantage because disclosure of the otherwise confidential advice and communication would harm the city by waiving the city's attorney-client privilege in accordance with 1 VSA Section 313A1F. May I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. May I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Public comment? Discussion amongst the council? Ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it and the motion carries. May I please have a motion to enter executive session to discuss confidential attorney-client communications with the city attorney for the purpose of providing professional legal services and invite the city attorney, the interim city manager, pursuant to 1 VSA Section 313A1F. May I have that motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Public comment? Further discussion with the council? You ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion is carried and we are now going into executive session. No action has been taken. May I please have a motion that the city council deny the alleged open meeting law violation as stated in Jennifer Burling's letter dated September 9, 2023 concerning the procedure for public comments. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any public comment?
Say, can you tell us what the rules are?
Counselor? Would you like to
Thank you,
have the
Madam
floor?
Mayor. The open meeting law does not dictate when public comment, the order in which public comment is received. It only dictates that the public be provided a reasonable opportunity to comment, and the city's rules of procedure allow the chair to organize and run the meeting as she so chooses. My understanding is that going forward, we will allow public comment after a motion has been seconded and before the vote, although the procedure previously followed whereby there was an agenda item, it was open for introduction and then public comment before a motion, second, and vote was also proper, because all the open meeting law requires is that the public be given a reasonable opportunity to comment on the matters considered at the meeting.
Thank you, Counselor.
Is it still
Any
public
further
comment?
discussion from the council?
No.
I have a motion and I have a second. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. And the motion carries. May I have a motion that the city council deny the alleged open meeting law violation dated September 11, 2023?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Public comment? Counselor, would you like to be recognized?
Sure, thank you, Madam Mayor. The alleged violation of the open meeting law was that the September 11th agenda failed to give sufficient notice to individuals as to the topics that will be discussed. The council disagrees. The September 11th agenda was sufficient to provide notice to the public of the matters that were discussed. The public attended, thereby evidencing that the agenda was sufficient. Further, there's no requirement that the agenda contain very specific descriptions of what will be discussed. All it needs to do is put individuals on notice of the time, place, meeting, and matters that will be discussed at that meeting. Therefore, there is no open meeting law violation in the council's opinion.
Any discussion from the council? I have a motion and a second. You ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. The motion carries. May I have a motion that the city council acknowledge...
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
You may want to introduce this agenda item first.
Oh, I apologize. Thank you. This item is Jennifer Buerling's notice of open meeting law violation dated 9/12/2023. May I have a motion that the city council acknowledge it was a violation of the Vermont open meeting law not to provide the reasons for the council's appointment of the interim fire chief and otherwise deny the other violations alleged in the letter from Jennifer Buerling dated September 12, 2023. May I have that motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Public comment?
At that meeting, John Wilson appointed Karen Garrity as city manager, and reasons were not given at that time. So are you now, because of your amendment tonight, rewriting reality, whatever was going on there, that are you going to come on the record and give the reasons for your selection at some point in time?
Thank you for your comment. Any further comments? Counselor, do you want to be recognized?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, the council did commit a violation of the open meeting law when it appointed the interim fire chief by motion and not stating the reasons therefore. With respect to the future potential appointment of a city manager, the intent of the motion at that meeting and the intent of the council was to make an offer to appoint her pending certain terms being negotiated for her employment, not to formally appoint her at that time. When she does become formally appointed, the council will indeed give the reasons for the city manager's appointment. So we will acknowledge the violation with respect to the interim fire chief.
Thank you, Counselor. Council
And
member?
I want to say, council, thank you. I have to leave for another meeting this evening. You're in good hands with Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Council members, do we have any further discussion necessary? I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. And the motion carries. The council will address any ratification of cure at the next city council meeting within 14 days in compliance with 1 VSA section 314B4. It should be noted that while everyone has a right to file open meeting law complaints, the cost to the city can begin to add up. There is a more desirable approach or other options and alternatives to keep the city in a positive light by telling the council members or the mayor in another fashion what the query is so that they can address, research, and provide a necessary cure if appropriate. That would also eliminate the extensive need for legal fees due to presenting such points to the council and city in a litigious method and using the council meetings as a forum to practice law. For the fiscal years 22 to 24, not including these past months, and not including bills for public record requests and city staff's time to manage these requests, legal fees alone to respond to these open meeting law alleged violations sent by only one member of the public already total over $1,500. Again, the council places a premium on public comment because of the vital contribution it makes in informing and sustaining our local democracy. There have been many transitions over the past months with members of the council and with city personnel that has made for some challenges. Educational passing of institutional knowledge, sharing of professional areas of experience, and the successful blending of personalities, all with only good intentions to honor and preserve the goodwill of the citizens of Newport and our city. So please reach out to us, but let's work together to find the most cost-effective and amicable means to keep Newport a united, proud city that can be a model for others. We will now be moving to agenda number 9, consider ratifying the Public Works contract. You want to go into executive? We are considering it's an option to go into executive session.
So Madam, it's a signature. It's up to you whether to go.
So may I have a motion? May I have a motion to ratify the Public Works contract?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second, public comment? Discussion amongst the council members? I have a motion and a second. You ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it and the motion is carried.
Madam Mayor? When is have they signed off on it yet?
Yes.
Yes.
So the agreement is public record at this point?
No.
Not till I sign it.
So you would sign all 3, council sign blue.
Get ready. It's about to become public record.
What's that?
It's about to become public record. Yeah, we have Chris's, we'll have to sign it later, so.
Yeah.
So do you need the full board to? I'm just wondering when I make.
Right, no, I know. but
I'll send you a
We'll
copy
send-
as soon
yeah,
as
we'll get you a
it's
copy.
signed. You too.
Okay. We are now, pardon me, going to agenda item number 10. Discussion of interim fire chief compensation. May I have a motion that the city council find the premature general public knowledge of council discussions concerning the contract and compensation for the interim fire chief would clearly place the city council at a substantial disadvantage by disclosing the council's negotiation strategy and priorities, 1 VSA section 313A1A. May I have that motion?
So moved.
I have a motion, may I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Public comment? Any further discussion amongst the council? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it and the motion is carried. May I have a motion to move to enter executive session to consider the contract and compensation of the interim fire chief pursuant to 1 VSA section 313A1A and invite the interim city manager and the city treasurer clerk into the executive session. May I have that motion?
So moved.
I have a motion, may I have a second?
Second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Public comment? Further discussion by the council? Ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, and we are in executive session. Okay, thank you. May I please have a motion that the city compensate interim fire chief Kevin Lacoste at the rate of $26.19 an hour for a maximum of 40 hours per week. The pay for response to emergencies is included in the 40 hours per week at the same rate. Additionally, the city will reimburse interim fire chief Kevin Lacoste for his medical premium, and this offer is retroactive beginning September 3rd, 2023. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Public comment? Bringing it back to the council for further discussion. Ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried.
Madam Mayor, point of clarification. What happens at the end of the 40-hour work week if there's another mass casualty like the flower sheds or flood or something that requires Mr. Lacoste to work on 40 hours?
Yeah, he responds.
Yes, he will respond. Yeah.
But he won't get paid or?
Of
No,
course.
no, he'll be paid.
Everybody
This is just to
gets
give
paid
the
if they work.
framework for the interim.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he'll get time and a half or?
Well, we have to see his hours, and the person who calculates the payroll will determine that. So, I mean, if he hasn't worked that week and he shows up just for one casualty, I guess it wouldn't be overtime. So each one is, each response will actually be looked at.
Well, I mean, sure, like the flower shed fire, that was a multiple
Right.
day casualty.
Right. So everybody who works will get paid. We're now moving to the agenda item, citizen impact statement on vendor permit. The mayor would like to recognize our interim city manager, please.
Thank you. I'll just provide a little framework and then we'll recognize Janice Kloof to provide the testimony. And is there anyone here from the Smoke and Barrels Barbecue LLC?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Oh, very good. Okay, thank you. So I'm just providing a framework that the Smoke and Barrels Barbecue LLC did receive a permit. It was a general permit citywide. There were no restrictions provided on the permit. It was not an event-based permit. So this is a situation in which no one has done anything wrong and no one is doing anything wrong. That's why I'm making this clear. But it's a situation where, just in revisiting this in next year, in terms of what the nature of this business is and where it's located, we may consider in doing permits to provide maybe a little more guidance based on a resident's experience. So again, the business has done nothing wrong, the resident has done nothing wrong, it's just a situation where it's a broadly applied permit. And so we're getting some input on the effects of that permit. So I will get a chair up here and have Janice provide some
Ms. Janice Clute, once we get your chair, the floor is yours.
Okay.
And so is the chair.
And so is the chair.
My problem is when they do it just one day a week, you know, for a event, you know, like for Eagles, that's fine. But now they're doing it three days, maybe 3.5 days, and they do it 24 hours a day, at least a couple times a week. And with me and my husband, he has asthma, and I had a heart surgery 3 years ago, so our lungs are weaker than it would be somebody that didn't have that. And when the wind brings that smoke across the road to our house, some days it's not bad, and other days it's pretty bad. So we get to the point pretty all summer long, we've had to shut our windows because the smoke comes in and it bothers me. Now it's been going on so long, I'm getting burning in my lungs. And I'm concerned because I went on the internet and I found out that the chemicals from the burning thing can bring on colon cancer, rectum cancer, stomach cancer, breast cancer, lung cancer, and prostate cancer. So I'm concerned now, I don't want to come down with lung cancer because of the chemicals coming out of the smoke. And also I talked to people up the street, and one of them has got health problems just like I have. His name is Edward Parrish. And he wrote a letter for you guys to read. And he has the same problems I am. If he goes out on his porch and the smoke's coming up, he gets burned in his lungs. And he has a worse health problem right now than I do. So, and what I can't figure out is the city won't let burning wood stoves outside. Why do they let this thing, especially if it runs more than 1 day a week, keep continuing and bring all this stuff up in the air and condemn our residents and people around it. And another concern that I've seen over there is he starts that thing up at 6:30 in the morning, and after he's got it going for a couple hours, he takes off and leaves it burning all by itself. And same thing at night. He'll leave probably about midnight and he'll have it keep going all night long, and nobody's there. So what's predictive somebody going over there and touching it and getting burnt on the thing? So that is my concern. I mean, you know, it's hot and everything and nobody's around there. Somebody could fall on it and they could end up suing us city residents for paying for whatever happens to them. So that's my concern.
Thank you, Ms. Blue. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you.
Can we ask if the smoking barrels are?
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. Any comments from Smoking Barrel?
So my name is William Kulikowski. I just want to say thank you guys for hearing us out. I'm co-owner of Smoking Barrels Barbecue. I hear this woman's complaint. However, I'd like to rebuttal some of the facts. As far as the smoke, I mean, I want you guys to envision, you know, just a chimney with a firewood going in it, or even a wood stove. Okay, the smoke is going directly in the air and it's dissipating. They live well over approximately 100 yards from where we're actually set up. So none of the smoke actually makes it to their house.
Yes, it does.
We do have pictures to.
Yep, we've got pictures and videos to prove what we're arguing here. And as far as the chemicals, I don't know what chemicals she's talking about because this is natural wood. This is maple from the woods. It's not pressure treated. Okay, so I don't know what chemicals she's talking about, but we're not burning any chemicals in this. Okay. Do you have anything to add to that, Fred?
Here's the
Yeah. So.
here's the paperwork on that.
Yeah. So again, we're just two local boys that grew up here. Worked hard for everything we have, and we're just trying to provide a service here in this community. We'd like to contribute to like bringing more people together here. We do a lot for the city. We provide food for the NECA. We have a barbecue that's going on for them at the end of October as well. We also help out in ways of setting up with other local businesses to draw attraction to them. so that we see a lot of out-of-staters like from Texas, Carolinas, Florida, that enjoy our food. We deal with hundreds of customers a day, and it just gives them a little taste of home. So when you consider shutting us down, you're considering like shutting down a whole community, and then also out-of-staters from coming and enjoying this kind of barbecue and this kind of food. As far as the smoke goes, I also myself have had asthma since I was 5 years old. I blew a lung. I have no issues, no problem running the smoker. I do run it every single day. As far as leaving the smoke, just to rebuttal her as well, when I leave, there's she probably can't see it because she's 100 yards away. There's dampers that you have to close the smoker so that it actually suffocates the fire so that nothing does happen. They do sell smokers at Walmart, electric smokers that everybody I'm sure has at their house. And I'll be completely honest with you, those are a lot more of a safety hazard than the one we're dealing with right now. This is something that we have to be there 24/7, which she has claimed that it is up at midnight. That's because I'm sleeping right next to it pretty much, getting the food on for the night. I also close the dampers if I do leave, all right? And there's no, as far as the smoke getting to her home, there's nothing factual. There's no, like, we haven't set up any, nobody's set up any smoke detectors, no carbon monoxide detectors or anything to see if it's even reaching the home, if it's causing any sort of problems with them. I wasn't, I showed up because to me it's actually becoming more of a safety hazard for myself because her husband has come out and used foul language with me, F-bombs, threw me the middle finger, made claims like, I hope you choke up on your lungs with that smoke. So when that starts happening, I do have to show up and just to make sure that as a safety precaution for our business and myself, with the world the way it is now, that things don't go south. So I do hear her concern, but again, we're not doing anything illegal here. This is something they sell all over the place as far as the smokers go. It's well controlled. We clean it all the time, and again, I'm always taking safety precautions on the smoker itself, shutting the dampers when we're away, and open for business when we're there.
Thank you.
Yes.
And just would like to notate one more thing, Mayor. We do have fire extinguishers on site if anything were to happen. Obviously, we know we can call 911 if there was anything to happen, okay? We're doing a great thing for this community. As my partner mentioned, we are having people come from all over the world. So I really hope you guys take that into consideration, that we are young entrepreneurs just trying to make a go at this. And to my knowledge anyway, I don't recall either one of these people coming across and having a conversation with us about what's been going on. From my recollection, all they've done is call the fire chief and make complaints about us, and now the code enforcement officer.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All I'm asking
One
is
moment, please.
So just to follow up on the comments that the former health officer, Chief Parliament, had gone over, and he determined that there was no health issue in his estimation. He looked at everything. You'll note on the permit that they have the permit through June of 2024. And just to state to them, this is not a hearing in which to shut them down. This is simply information to review the permit again in the future, just so you understand. So just to, Mr. Johnson, when he does these permits at the end of the year, has to provide any comments that might come in on permits. So that's part of it, but that's not what's before the council tonight. It's not being shut down. And you have your permit, you're not operating against what the permit requires of you. You're not operating against any of that. So it's just soliciting public comment. The comments have come to us through our health officer.
I do have one question following up with that. There are other, I don't know if I'm allowed to. There are other smokers.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank
okay,
you.
sorry.
Okay. So, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
No, it's just information for the
Right.
council.
And this was just a citizen impact statement, and we wanted to hear from everybody. It's not a debate on who's right or wrong. We are paying attention to issues, and we're paying attention to everybody's statements. I am going to ask if there's any comments from the general public.
Yeah, I'm curious, is it a permitted use?
It's not a not permitted use,
So it means it's a permitted.
so it's a permitted use.
And then commercial.
In a commercial capacity, and the point that Ms. Plouffe makes about wood-burning stoves is not exactly a corollary to what's happening here. Those are referring more, if we were to take that on, we'd also have to take on barbecues. So this is sort of a separate issue than a wood-burning stove. But it's something for the council to consider going forward. Maybe location versus actual,
Yeah, probably some, but if it's a permitted use in a commercial zone.
yeah.
Does the council have any?
I have just
Sure, go ahead.
thought, with no intention of shutting you down, do you have to be where you are? I mean, is there any other place you could set up and?
As far as in that specific state?
Yeah, I realize you got a lot of good parking in there and all that stuff, but I'm just throwing it out. Is there another place that you?
In the lot?
No. within
Or
the-
like somewhere else?
It's a city permit within the city, other than on my lawn.
But I mean, then we're dealing, to me, I feel like we're dealing with other potential complaints from, and then next thing you know, we're moving all over the city trying to make everyone happy.
And that affects our business too.
But
It was
it's,
just an inquiry.
yeah, I know for sure.
Yeah.
Are we done?
Okay. Yeah, we're done with public right now.
You got one more.
We're still in
But I will allow it.
Only because I represent the Fraternal Order of Eagles, and we rent the spot to them. We give them a great rate to help them out because they are doing so much for the community, and we'd like to do a lot for the community as well. You know, I would love to do a survey. I mean, most of our wind in the Northeast Kingdom goes west to east. I mean, their home is located to the north. So I really don't see where it's a big concern with what they're getting for. If we thought it was, we would do it ourselves and say, you know, hey, can you, we can try to move them somewhere on the lot, a little different. But the thing is, I don't think it's fair to ask them to move to another lot where they might pay $800 a month in rent, where they're paying very little at this point. You're just asking for a business to add more cost.
They can move down there where the garden, where farmer's market is, and they won't have to pay.
And they shouldn't have to move anyway, they got a permit.
Right, but right now, we're
Right,
not
okay.
in a debate,
Right.
and we
Yep.
are, which is just
I thank you for allowing me to
information
talk.
from everybody.
I have a question for that. What days are you open?
See, that's the only complaint we usually get.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Any further discussion or questions from the council? Okay, thank you, Ms. Plouffe, and thank you, gentlemen. We're now going to the agenda item, MCM request for the city to pay a denied insurance claim. I would like to recognize the interim city manager at this point.
So thank you. I'll just draw your attention to the sheet that I provided this evening. That was the determination sent to the Northern Star from the city's insurance agent, Vermont League of Cities and Towns, denying the claim for the issue that Mr. Converse will raise. So the city's insurance company denied the claim, and the reasons there are because it had happened before and there was previous knowledge of the mats being there. But they'll explain their request to you.
I recognize Mr. Converse.
Yes, hi, Steve Converse, President of North Macon Community Maritime. Backing up 2 years, we had the same issue with the matting there that they put in to kill off the milfoil. And the captain was in pumping out and filling up, and when he went to leave, the boat sucked up the matting into the propellers. And that incident's in 21. The mat got really caught around the props, and the rebar got caught up around, and they were able to get the boat over to its normal mooring place, but we had to call in divers to come in and cut it out. And we had to cancel an afternoon cruise, but we're in the nick of time, we were able to go out on the night cruise. The insurance company paid for that project. That was over $5,000. what happened last year is they put the mats down again, and they put rebar on it again, and Captain came in, and, was it when he came in or going out? Leaving. And he was conscious of it, but that spot is the only place on Lake Memphremagog he can fill up and pump out. So he had to go there. And being conscious of it, he was backing out, and when he felt the mat there, he cut the engines down right off, and it didn't get caught up his back. So we did have a guy, a local guy, that was able to dive down and cut it all away.
No tanks, right?
Yeah, and so with that, and we had to cancel a Canadian cruise that we're going to do, which is a 4-hour cruise up to Canada and back. The cost for us on that was $1,204. And your insurance company denied it because they said, well, the captain knew it was there and he shouldn't have gone there. Well, like I said, there's no other place on Lake Memphremagog he can go to pump out and fill up. I don't think the matting was put down well enough again if this boat sucked it up. So we're not asking for you to necessarily pay the bill. We've paid these expenses ourselves. What we're asking for is credit for our docking fee for this amount, which would be roughly a month and a half's worth of docking fees.
So if I could add some additional information.
Yes.
So the, in looking at the information provided on the day of the incident, the harbor master was there as the boat was coming in. And he was trying to communicate on the radio to the captain that he needed to change his maneuver so that the mat would not get sucked up. And there was no response on the radio from the captain. And the minute then that the engines caught the mat, they shut down. And the wind effectively blew the boat into the dock so that the captain, so that the harbor master could help tie it off. But the harbor master was there. He provided the testimony to the insurance company. And that was part of the basis that the claim was denied.
At times, like, he was there at that time, but sometimes captain fills up with fuel 8 o'clock in the morning, and there's no dock hands there to help do that. So he would have been having to go in alone. And this year they didn't put the mats down at all because it was realized that the mats and the boat isn't a good marriage. So they're doing something else to take care of the milfoil there. But that's what it's for.
They have divers going down actively.
So, you want to add anything? No?
How you doing? I'm Captain Robbie Cannon, and that boat draws almost 5 feet of water, and there's only 6 feet of water there at the city's dock. You measured it with the pole, and you're going to have the wheels, the propellers, close to the bottom. And with that small rebar on there, it's going to always be jumping up.
So, okay.
It's so close.
Yes.
Who do I have here?
Yes, Mike.
Excuse me.
If I may, just want to add
Yes,
some
you
more
may.
information, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
First time it happened 2 years ago when the situation came up to us. This predates myself and the harbor master. So we pulled out the permit, and when they were installed previous to last summer, we followed all of the specifications with double the weight. And we also had the bottom barriers inspected twice a month, which is part of the permit. So after this last incident, last summer, we removed the bottom barriers. So I just want to make a point that, we're aware of the situation, we're trying to correct it to make it best for everybody. So after this last situation, we removed the bottom barriers and we filed for a permit to harvest the milfoil. So a diver goes down, cuts the milfoil and sucks it up. So that way there's no more bottom barrier. And I think that solves the problem. So we've been on the issue, we've been trying to fix it. So I just wanted to add that information in.
Thank you.
And there's no issues there now.
Right.
Issues are over.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion to approve the request for the city to pay MCM's denied insurance claim?
They're asking for.
Right, but that's how we have it worded. Okay, so listen carefully to the question, please. Do I have a motion to approve the request for the city to pay MCM's denied insurance claim?
So I think I need, excuse me, some
Do I have
clarification.
a say?
Was their request that it be paid back monetarily or through?
No,
money
through
within
credits,
rental?
through credits,
And that's what the motion is for?
yes.
Okay. Then I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Keep that in mind. Any public comment?
Just a quick comment from somebody in the insurance business for a moment. If they collided with something, their insurance should cover it. And why they denied the claim, I have no idea. And the fact that you, unless you did it deliberately, that doesn't make sense. It's an accident, and that's what you buy insurance for.
So
That's,
I can address that.
Yes, you may.
So the claim was denied because the insurance company noted that the captain knew that this was an existing issue and that the maneuvers could be different, which is why the captain was on the dock that day to help the boat maneuver around it. And so the insurance company denied the claim based on prior knowledge of the captain that it was there and that he'd been warned in that current year that it was there.
So, please.
Karen, are we, is the motion to pay them for that, or are we issuing a credit?
The motion will be to do a credit for dock fees. I don't know, Mike, well.
Right.
I got it.
You
Just wanna
understand?
make sure.
Okay. Council, any other questions? I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried.
So good.
So we're gonna move on now to item number 13, Newport Parks and Recreation rates. I recognize Parks and Recreation Director Mike Brown.
Hello. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is simple. So there's two proposals. I'm proposing to raise the rates for the seasonal slips and proposing to raise the rates at the transient sites at the campground. We haven't raised those rates in several years, and it's basically to keep up with inflation. 6.4% over last year and proposed or projected 4.1% in 2024. So if you look at it, it's basically a 10% across the board on those rates, which for most of them is like a $5 raise. Everything else stays consistent.
Do I have a motion to approve the Newport Parks and Recreation rates?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Public comment? Any further discussion by the council? Ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. We are now moving to the agenda item, the request for forensic audit on water and sewer funds. The mayor was asked by a member of the public at an August council meeting to perform a forensic audit of the water and sewer funds. The same member requested in writing a commitment from the mayor to perform such forensic audit. It is important for the public to understand what a forensic audit is. And while the mayor and the council can review and investigate the areas in question, that they are not allowed to perform a forensic audit, as the results would be in a test function, and audits have clear and precise definitions and oversight by government and licensing authorities. I would like to explain to the public what a forensic audit is, as well as to let the public know that any decision to hire a forensic auditing firm or not retain a forensic auditing firm does not preclude the mayor and council from their ability to review and examine the transactions in both the water and sewer funds. So an audit is an attest function that must be performed by an independent licensed auditing firm in compliance with auditing rules and standards. A forensic audit examines and evaluates the financial records to derive evidence used in court of law or legal proceedings. Forensic auditing is a specialization and requires accounting and auditing procedures and expert knowledge about the legal framework of such an audit. Forensic audits cover a wide range of investigative activities, often conducted to prosecute a party for fraud, embezzlement, or other financial crimes. In the process of a forensic audit, the auditor may be called to serve as an expert witness during trial proceedings. Forensic audits could also involve situations that do not include financial fraud, such as disputes related to bankruptcy filings, business closures, and divorces. A forensic audit, as requested, would require the retention of an outside independent licensed auditing firm with such expertise to perform an examination and evaluation of the financial records. During the forensic audit, the auditor would seek to derive evidence that could potentially be used in court. A forensic audit is used to uncover criminal behavior such as fraud or embezzlement. These investigations can uncover or confirm various types of illegal activities. The process of a forensic audit is similar to a regular financial audit, requiring planning, collecting evidence, writing an attest report with the additional steps of a potential court appearance. Audits of these types, depending upon the independent firm retained, could range from $25,000 to $100,000 or more. Forensic auditors are usually retained if there is an attempt to bring legal action or if there is already legal action pending. If there was an option to use an internal audit, those are used for compliance purposes and controls, so that type of an audit would not be used for the request to look at the water and sewer funds. I want to reiterate that the mayor, the council, the staff will not be precluded from looking at these transactions and seeing how these transactions have been posted, journal entries, and if there are any areas that need to be investigated. So, may I have a motion to have the mayor and the council members review water and sewer transactions to determine the nature and classification of the transactions in lieu of retaining a forensic auditing firm?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Comments from the public? Yes.
I just want to say that I have full faith in the city council and the mayor to review the transactions. Because to me, when I heard the term forensic audit, it triggered illegal activity and fraud. And I can tell you, in all my years of being on that board sitting there. I can swear on a Bible or whatever that, as far as I saw, there was no corruption, no illegal activity taking place. My opinion from reading everything and seeing everything is we probably should do an operational review of the allocations of expenses. That's really what really needs to be done. But to indicate that you need a forensic audit, basically is saying from the council, yeah, we know there's fraud, we know there could be criminal activity when there isn't any. Because our regular auditors would have flagged something. The annual audit every year, they would flag. They do review expenses, they do pull invoices randomly to see if it matches up. So I'm glad the council is taking the route of not hiring a forensic auditor, because you're absolutely right, 25 to 100,000 at least. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bierling. I'm the one who asked at the public meeting for the forensic audit. I asked for an internal audit. I did not ask for an independent audit. The mayor ran on a campaign of having certain abilities that would lend itself to an investigation of what is embedded in the water and sewer funds and whether or not it's legitimate. My understanding of a forensic audit is basically you're chasing the money and you're determining whether or not money is appropriated in the right funds, if there's money missing, whatever the case might be, but you're chasing the money. And so an email exchange went back and forth between myself and the mayor, and it finally ended where I said, you know, I'm not asking for an independent audit. I'm not asking for this to be something that the city relies upon in reference to appropriate accounting procedures. I'm asking for you to look at the water and sewer funds and determine whether or not the expenses are appropriately associated, legitimately associated with water and sewer, so that we're in compliance with the Vermont state statutes pertaining to water and sewer. And I said to her in the email, you can call it a forensic audit, you can call it an investigation, you can call it whatever you want. But I want a commitment that you guys are finally going to take a look at water and sewer and make a determination as to whether or not those expenses are properly located in water and sewer. And so now the mayor is bringing this forward as an agenda item, saying that she's quoting my request when that is not a truthful statement. I did not request an independent forensic audit. I even in the email exchange said, call it whatever you want. I have made 8 requests to meet with the mayor and the city manager to discuss the water and sewer funds and what I've come to understand as potential misappropriations. I have had radio silence in that regard, and here we are tonight. So I do support the council in reference to them taking a deep dive into water and sewer. I do not support a forensic audit. So I don't know why it's being misconstrued this way, but those are the facts.
Thank you. Comments from
I would suggest that the council go through the water and sewer budget just like they do all the departments, the budget. In the past, we kind of relied on what the public works and city manager put in for a budget, but I think now is the time that the council go through those budgets like they do all the other budgets. I can repeat Paul's thing. I've been here a long time, and I can tell you right now, there's no criminal intent and there's no fraud going on. You have to budget what it takes to operate those funds, and it's as simple as that. The budget goes through a budget process. The council theoretically sets the budget. The public votes on it. When bills are paid, they pay the bills according to the expenses. It comes to the city manager, they're coded, they come downstairs, we enter them. It takes 2 signatures on everything, so 2 people looking at everything. And warrants come up, the council goes through the warrants, signs off, and we send the checks out. There's a lot of checks and balances in this thing. There's not one person running the whole budgeting, spending the money and writing the check. That's not the way it works.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the council?
I'm very curious as, was the word forensic used? Were you asked to do a forensic audit verbally or in the facility?
It was brought, I think it was the August 11th
council meeting where there was a specific request, yes.
Of a forensic?
Yes, so this is a clarification, it doesn't, as I said, it doesn't preclude us from actually going in and looking at the transactions and actually saying, how is this allocated, and actually speaking to the appropriate parties to follow this trail. So this was a clarification, because it was specifically asked publicly, we want to make sure that we're addressing it and that we're not precluding ourselves. However, somebody may want to vote for the forensic audit, it's all up to you. It should also be known that we have a regular audit going on. I want to be really clear that a regular audit will not be there to identify specific fraud. However, they must look for the red flags of fraud. So that may be, once we get that report, may actually say, hey, we need to come back to this situation. Okay, so I want to be, my purpose here was to just clarify the distinct word of audit, because that is a government control. So it's just a clarification of use certain words. Certain words are used legally, certain words are used in the CPA world, but when you do in a test function, you are issuing a report, and there are rules to do that. So right now, the motion that we have before us, okay, is to have the mayor and the council members review water and sewer funds transactions to determine the nature and classification of the transactions in lieu of retaining a forensic auditing firm. Do I have a motion? We had it, sorry, forget that. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. And the motion carries. Councilor Smith, if you would like to stay, you may, but if you would like to go home and enjoy the rest of your night, you are more than welcome to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, City of Newport. Have a good evening.
Thank you for this.
Brian.
Thank you. Next item is old business. No. Is that right? Okay, old business. So, does President Wilson have any old business he'd like to discuss?
No.
Mr. Charbonneau, Councilman Charbonneau?
No.
Councilman Curtis?
No.
Is Ms. Terrian still here?
She
Ms.
is.
Terrian, would you like any discussion on old business that you have to share?
No, thank you.
I do.
Ms. Garrity?
Two brief.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. Mr. Vachon, I apologize.
That's okay, nothing for me, thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's because you're so high up there. Look at you. Okay, Ms. Garrity.
Two brief old business items. The first is the question about the disability access that Ms. Bjorling raised at the last meeting. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you were discussing the entranceway at the back of the building?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So that particular entrance, the main accessible entrance is on the side of the building. There is a box with a button that's manned. So when that's hit, the police department answers that, and that entrance goes into the gym and then over to the elevators.
So which level is that on?
That's on the ground level.
But I mean, I'm on the ground level when I'm in the back.
Right, and there's a ramp that goes to that building. It's just that one is connected to the PD.
I'm looking at the back of the building.
Okay, so why don't we let Ms. Garrity finish her
So-
explanation, and then we'll.
Okay.
So that is the entrance off of the main, so if you're looking at the main entrance of the building from Main Street, it's to the left.
Perfect.
So, and so the one at the back of the building is not always open due to security concerns. That's the reason.
Fair enough.
So the second issue is just, and Mr. Johnson and I have discussed this, just a brief correction of the statement regarding the cost of the employees working in the interim position during the interim city manager position. And that he was thinking of a different line item. That actually, that was where it was stated it was costing over $10,000. It's actually saved the city because of the way in which the expenses, and I'm happy to go through those, but the way in which the expenses roll out in terms of salary, there are no benefits, the kind of benefits that were being paid are not being paid in this interim. So actually there's a savings to the city of at least $400, but it's more if we calculate in the benefits, which honestly I didn't do. And so the $10,000 was inaccurate. We looked at something different. What we don't have yet is the cost of the headhunters for the process. Right now there is, and Mr. Johnson brought this up, there's a bill of $1,200, but there will be more coming based on the end. So that's just to correct that $10,000 piece.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Karen and I went over this again. I had left Laura in
Right.
on the deal instead of taking her out.
Right, and taking that salary up. That's why it generated
There was a,
very high.
there was a plus instead of a minus.
Well, there you go.
We were very
You
happy
followed
to
the
see.
money and you
I was
found the
very
answer.
Yeah.
So do you want to address, Ms. Earl, the questions brought up?
Yes. So Ms. Chiarello had asked the question of what budget the Public Works equipment purchase would come out of. So that will come out of the capital budget line item for equipment in the general fund. So that's where that purchase will come. So that's a planned purchase. The second issue, or I guess now the third issue that I will bring up was the statement. Oh, it's the fourth, you're right. Excuse me. The fire chief hiring process, just to clarify that, that will be a process where we work with the fire department, the firefighters, to form a committee. There will be recommendations, there will be a process of interviews that will go through the fire department. There will be council involvement on that, and likely mutual aid involvement as well, representatives across to evaluate the candidates that will come forward in the search. And then a recommendation will be made to the council for the hiring of the permanent fire chief. So that's that process.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Johnson, do you have anything that you would like to add to
I
old
would like
business?
everybody to know that the tax bills will be going out on the 1st of October.
Okay, thank
I
you
know
for
everybody's
that
looking forward to that.
Okay, council members, are we done with this item? Okay, we're now going to move on to new business. President Wilson, any new business?
No, you're gonna cover it.
Mr. Charbonneau?
No.
Mr. Vachon?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Mr. Curtis?
No, thanks.
Ms. Terrian?
No, thank you.
Ms. Garrity?
Just a brief notice from our neighbor over in Coventry, the town administrator, Matt Maxwell, that they will be doing some culvert replacement on the Lane Road in Coventry on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So just be aware that there will be lane closures on that week, on that street.
Mr. Johnson, other than telling us we're going to be taxed, do you have anything else that
No,
you'd like
this is the
to
good
add?
news.
Okay. So I have some things I'd like to say. The mayor hours are on Monday and Wednesday morning from 9 to 11 here in the council room, and President Wilson and I have actually met with the residents who shared their project ideas. The president and I also shared resource information with these residents and business owners as they requested information, and helped to direct them to where it's best suited for them to find this information. As a result of these meetings, the president and I hope to share views from the public and help educate the public as to these many great projects and visions, as we tried to do today, except that one of the presentations needed to be withdrawn until they were ready. Second, the receiver of the asset, known as the whole, has asked his liaisons to meet with the mayor to discuss some proposed ideas. I had 2 meetings and expect there to be more, But as these meetings become more than informational, the mayor will set formal meetings with the president and the other appropriate stakeholders. So that is moving. The mayor met with Representative Marcotte of Coventry to discuss the Coventry Airport and potential for collaboration with Newport and Coventry and hurdles that were involved that may present themselves to these collaborations. President Wilson and the mayor have been invited to meet with Representative Marcotte and other stakeholders to discuss the airport. There is great interest from Coventry to collaborate and develop with Newport, and it should be noted that the receiver no longer owns any assets on that airport grounds, okay? It's at the 12 o'clock. At the hangar. I'll give you the exact hangar.
Okay.
The mayor has had a scheduled meeting in place with Ted Brady, the executive director of the Vermont League and Councils and Towns, to discuss Newport and have trainings as well as other resources that VLCT can offer. President Wilson will be joining that meeting, and the mayor has invited other parties to attend and join as well. And then finally, the mayor received a request for a mayor's proclamation declaring November 1, 2023 Extra Mile Day in Newport, dedicated to those going the extra mile in volunteerism and service. The mayor will be issuing the proclamation and has been asked to identify 3 extra mile heroes from Newport. I would like the public to please submit to the mayor their recommendations for consideration, either at the mayor meetings or by email, of people and organizations that you believe are making significant contributions to our city and who deserve this recognition. I have also requested these recommendations from council members and the interim city manager as well. Next item, we're going to set the next regularly scheduled meeting of October 2, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. So it is October 2, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Okay, here comes the big one. Next item on the agenda is to adjourn. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:06 p.m.?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any public comment? Council have anything they would like to discuss about adjourning?
That's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hands up. So I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting at 9:06 p.m. You ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. And the motion carries and the meeting is adjourned.